Hi, my name's Rob Lamontagne, and I teach foundations of real estate investment and creative financing. I'm a real estate investor and have been since 2010. I'm also a real estate trainer and mentor. I've taught creative financing and real estate investment courses for real estate education companies since 2016, and have been a real estate mentor and coach since 2014. I'm 63 years old. I've been married for 41 years to the same wonderful woman, and I have three kids aged 30, 33, and 35. Pictured here are my three adorable grandkids, my granddaughter on the right, who was just born last November, and my two grandsons, aged 5 and 7. In my prior life, I was a self employed computer consultant since 1993. I retired in February 2020. I volunteered as a scout leader for 15 years, developing programs for youth. I volunteered for the Ottawa Senators Foundation for 5 years, and I am a regular blood donor with more than 175 donations to date, averaging 4 donations a year since I was 17. In 2008, I was 47 years old, leading a very typical life. There was nothing special about me, and I was 8 years away from that magical Freedom 55, the walk into the sunset, being able to leave the day job, and enjoying retirement. But those of you who are about my age or a little younger will remember that starting in September 2008, we suffered through the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression in 1929. Between September 2008 and April 2009, global stock markets lost about 50% of their value. Even gold, which should have been a hedge against the kind of crisis we had, dropped 30% in value. Now, being a self employed computer consultant, my pension was my retirement, was my savings. I had no pension. So this crisis, this crash, turned my dream of Freedom 55 into the nightmare of Freedom 75 if I was lucky. I needed a new plan, and I didn't know what I was going to do. It took me about a year. Then one day I heard an infomercial on the radio to come attend a free seminar and learn how to buy investment real estate using other people's money. Well, I must have liked what I heard because I started out taking 4 courses initially in 2010. And from those courses, I continued to take courses for the next 11 years. My creative financing course was the course that inspired me. In that course, we talked about goal setting. And at that point, I decided that if the guy at the front of the room could do it, I could as well. And I decided that I would retire from the day job within 10 years, despite the financial crisis that we had just suffered, that I would buy 5 multifamily properties within 5 years, and that I would someplace warm to retire and spend my winters. We looked at goal setting from the SMART perspective, where goals were to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. And I believe them to be that. Well, I did retire within 10 years in February of 2020, but the real estate journey was a little different. Why? Because different opportunities presented themselves, and I was able to take advantage of some things some real estate things that came up. So since 2010, I bought a 15-unit apartment building in Windsor that I sold in 2022. I bought a 12-unit condo complex in Phoenix that I refinanced in 2021. I bought two short-term rentals, vacation rentals in Ecuador. I did 9 rent-to-owns in Mallorytown, Merrickville, Cornwall, St. Andrews West, Brockville, Perth, Alfred, and Ottawa. I did a flip in St. Andrews West. I did two buy, rent, and hold doors in Buffalo, New York, and two buy, rent, and hold doors in Niagara Falls, New York. Those I sold in 2017. And I wholesaled a 12-unit building in Windsor. So you can see there some of the properties. Top top right is one of my rent-to-owns. The one under that is the condo complex that I'm involved in Phoenix. The one under that is the 12-unit building that I wholesaled in Windsor. To the left is the hotel that I was involved with in Niagara Falls, New York. And bottom left is my 15-unit apartment building in Windsor. Top left is our vacation rental in San Clemente, Ecuador. Top right was the first rent to own that I did, a nice 3 bedroom bungalow on 5 acres in Mallory Town. Bottom right is the hotel I'm involved in Buffalo, New York. And bottom left is another one of my rent to owns. These are pictures of our vacation rental in Manta, Ecuador. But in 2020, I started to pivot. I looked at what I was doing and I sold Windsor and I refinanced Phoenix. And with the proceeds of those transactions, I bought into a portfolio of self storage facilities in the US, 9 facilities in Florida, South Carolina, and Kansas, totaling over 2,200 doors. I bought into a portfolio partnership of multifamily properties in the US, 144 units in Pasadena, Texas. And I bought into 3 short term rental cottage resorts in Ontario, one in Muskoka, one in Napanee, and one in Hastings. I'm a JV partner in a 19-unit multifamily in Thunder Bay, and I'm also a JV partner in a warehouse conversion and renovation in Tucson, Arizona. The key here is that I no longer have to do the work, and that was the goal. What I learned is that I'd rather have 10% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape. So here are some of the more recent properties. You've got 2 of the storage facilities in the top left and bottom right. You also have the cottage resort in Muskoka in the top right. You've got the cottage resort in Napanee in the bottom left. The top 2 pictures are our 144 unit complex in Pasadena, Texas. And the bottom 2 pictures are the cottage resort in Hastings, Ontario. The key here is that all of these properties were 100% financed using creative financing techniques that I discuss in my creative financing course. We use conventional mortgages, vendor takebacks, private loans, secured and unsecured lines of credit, credit cards, wholesale fees, joint ventures, RSPs, and cash out refinancing. My top priorities in real estate investing are: number one, positive cash flow. Right behind that is return on investment. Third is the ability to creatively finance a deal so that I can get 100% financing and the terms and conditions that go along with that. Last in the list is appreciation. Appreciation is important, but I look at appreciation as the bonus because you don't know how long it's going to take for a property to increase in value enough to either sell it or refinance it. It can take 1, 3, 5, 10, or more years. If the property is positive cash flowing, you can afford to wait it out and wait until the conditions are right to do what you want with the building. If you negative cash flow on a property, you do not have the flexibility of waiting. How long can you afford to hold a property that's costing you money month after month after month while you wait for it to appreciate? That's why I unapologetically subscribe to the rich dad philosophy and only buy positive cash flowing properties. Because in real estate, it's not if things will go wrong, it's when things will go wrong. There will always be the unexpected. And it's possible to commit no errors and still lose. That is not a weakness, that is life. So, the foundations of real estate investment course. We talk about what are income properties and the different types of properties. We talk about my 10 commandments of real estate investing and the mindset that an investor has to have to be successful. We spend a lot of time working numbers and learning about key performance indicators. Key performance indicators are just values that tell you whether or not a property is performing well or will likely to continue to perform well. We talk about leveraging other people's money. We talk about finding deals, analyzing markets, analyzing transactions. We go through financial statements and we learn the difference between actual, trailing 12, and pro forma. We go through the process of making an offer and the conditions that a real estate investor who's buying a property has to have in the offer in order to protect themselves. We go through the financing process and we also go through an understanding of credit. What is your credit score? How is it made up? Why is it important to lenders? How can you improve your credit? We talk about due diligence steps. These are the things that you need to do to verify that the property you think you're getting is actually what you're getting. That's the period between the time you have an accepted offer and the time that you remove all your conditions. Because if you close on the property, any inherent problems are now yours. They don't fall back to the seller. We go through the process of closing the deal. We also talk about different structures for holding the real estate. New real estate investors are always wondering whether they should or hold the property personally. We also go through the process for screening tenants, and we talk about tenant insurance and the differences between tenant insurance and landlord insurance. And finally, we go through the process of finding, selecting, and hiring a property manager. In creative financing, we delve into what exactly is creative financing. And again, we go through financials and understanding financials of buildings and properties. We talk about other people's money and how to use other people's money in real estate investment. We also deal with how you should talk to investors and real estate agents in order for you to be able to find out the things that you need to know from them and the things that they need to know from you. Then we get into actual strategies of financing. We talk about credit cards, unsecured private loans using promissory notes, vendor takebacks, joint ventures, unsecured lines of credit, home equity lines of credits and the Smith maneuver, agreements for sale, lease options for acquisition, mortgages from self directed funds, post dated checks, purchase credits, cash out refinancing, split offers, blanket mortgages, and syndicated mortgages. And finally, we end the course talking about a couple of strategies that are only available if you buy property in the US. Include wraparound mortgages and the 1031 exchange. Now that you know what these two courses are about, I look forward to seeing you in one of them.